mismatched sex drives. One person's sex drive is over the roof, the other isn't. I will share with you 4 steps or 4 things that might help, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Thy Truth. Finding your truth with Efemena.
Mismatched sex drives? Now, I did not understand this. I did not understand. In fact, I probably didn't understand a lot of things relating to sex at that time. I didn't know couples could face mismatched libidos. And, and it changes depending on what's going on in their lives, in the moods or the bodies of the people involved. It could be age, family, wahala. It could be job. It could be emotional issues, children, physical wahala. And over time, I later understood that over time it fluctuates. And I know sex is a very sensitive, and for some it's a very personal issue. And talking about it, especially from where I come from and how we were raised, it's a bit tricky because it's a delicate subject, and it's a difficult situation when one partner has a higher sex drive. Difficult because it feels like you're not compatible. One person's sex drive is over the roof and the other isn't, or you started off having the same kind of libido, and all of a sudden one person's libido is down the drain and the other is what it is. It's difficult, but totally possible to work around it. I will share with you 4 steps or 4 things that might help, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Number 1, I think you should be honest. Be honest with your partner. Be honest with yourself about your sexual desires, about your sexual needs. This was something I was too shy and naive to do. So, yeah, it is important to be open about it, and also open to listen to your partner's desires and needs. And if you find out you're not compatible sexually, then it's so important to address it. And from my experience, address it when you're both in a horny-less mood. I mean, when no one is asking for sex and no one is denying the other for sex, you know what I mean? I think it's important to see how you can work things out together to find a reasonable solution when you're not in that mood. And one thing I've learned is that it's important to work together to mutually satisfy each other, a mutually acceptable way to satisfy each other. Talk about it. Like I always say, every relationship is different, dynamic in its own way. So just be upfront with your partner about it. Number 2, set or make the time. I mean, we can get a little bit busy, with work. I noticed that when the children started to come in, it was more about the children. It could be with chores, or there's always one wahala. I used to actually think that sex should be spontaneous. You shouldn't plan sex. It should just happen. And as much as I like that, pretty much I think you should plan it. It's easier when you plan it. It's like you're making it a priority, Oh, and side note, do not wait until bedtime. It's super easy to put it off or scrap it totally. If you put it off till bedtime, one person would get tired or something would happen, and it's a mess. So don't push it, but make it a priority by planning towards it. Number 3, foreplay, my favorite. Yeah, set the tone, man. Set the tone, babe. I mean, I read somewhere where it says it takes 24 hours to set the tone for a woman. And by setting the tone, I mean, yeah, breakfast in bed, you know what I mean? Helping her around the house, or at least take something out of her to-do list. Spending quality time, a bottle of wine, my favorite, flowers. Yeah, just making sure she has no worries. And yeah, that's pretty much. It takes 24 hours to set the mood for her. And for a man, yeah, it takes 3 minutes. It happens within 3 minutes. That's it. Anyway, so clearly it's a bit different for men and women foreplay and setting the tone for foreplay. And as I said, it doesn't have to be. You don't have to wait until you're in the bedroom. You can set the tone with a hot phone call, or a hot text message or a note. Just write a note, put it in his pocket or in her purse, and compliment each other. Go out, just have a lovely conversation. Duh. Number 4, it can be worth seeking or getting help to realize that sex is very important in a relationship, and to realize that there's so many factors that can affect one and cause one or both partners to shy away from it. So it's worth seeking help quick. Don't wait for it to get so bad. By seeking help, it could be a therapist or something, especially if it's been going on for a long time. And I don't really recommend that you leave it for too long. So talk to someone about it. With a woman and a man, I guess it's a bit different. For me, sex is a way to emotionally connect. It's not just a physical act, and it's crucial that both partners understand what sex means to the other. If you're with someone, you should understand what sex means to them and how they view sex, whether it's the physical or health issues affecting you or your partner's libido, or even emotional issues. I can relate with that one. Hopefully in all of that, you can talk to someone. You can maybe a therapist, as I said, or figure out how you can, make it work. So I hope that helps. Wish you all the best. Thank you for listening.
Meet you again at another episode of Die True. Finding Your Truth with Efemena.